realistic fantasy systems with a suspicious focus on accurate racism and sexual assault? What? Welcome to the Twisted Pint Tavern. Today we're visiting r/DnD to answer, D&D players of Reddit, what are some of the worst house rules you've encountered? Not one, but all of them. Had a DM who just didn't know when to stop when adding house rules he'd seen on Reddit or somewhere else. It just became a very messy campaign where even he didn't know what was going on half the time. And then a reply, I have a DM like this. He's a great storyteller, but he also suffers majorly from game designer syndrome. He just cannot use any standard rule set. Always a mashup of mechanics from 2 or more systems and homebrewed Reddit mechanics. Yeah, we're playing 5e, but also we're using the exploration mechanics from this other system. Oh, and there's this d6 dice pool I'll remember to use off and on. Here's these custom downtime actions I took from Pathfinder, but also changed. And since failing at something is boring, whenever you fail a skill check, there will be extra complications that won't make narrative sense because I make them up on the spot. But only if I feel like it, so you never know what to expect. All the other rules will randomly be ignored. Go ahead and re-roll that attack until you succeed, player I need to bribe into coming to sessions by letting him do everything he wants. It's tiring. I get that house rules can be kind of fun and exciting, especially on the DM's end, because it's something new for the game, but you need to limit them. You can't just throw every house rule you see online into your game because 1, it gets to where there's too many rules, and 2, not all of them are good. One DM had everyone roll initiative at the beginning of the session, and that's the order that our characters had to use in that session for everything. Combat, social interactions, roleplay, etc. This made it extremely difficult to hold conversations with NPCs, because you couldn't break the turn order. So if you had something to say to an NPC or PC, you had to wait for your turn to come around or let all the other players relinquish their turns so that you can get to yours faster. The DM also just decided whether we succeeded or failed on a whim. No dice rolls needed. That group lasted 2 sessions. At first I thought you were saying they had you roll initiative at the beginning of every round, like in older editions. No. At the start of the session? And to use that for everything? Where's the roleplay fun there? You have to wait for permission to speak? What the heck is that? I once met a party who used charisma-based checks as mind control to convince other PCs that their PC's plan was better and should be followed. Yeah, charisma checks to convince real people at the table? That's fun. No, it's not. Most of these are not fun at all. But if you are looking to have some fun, feel free to hop into the Twisted Pint Tavern Discord server. There's a looking for groups section, channels to talk about all things D&D, and a bunch of people who I'm sure would like to talk about some horrible house rules. Oh, and don't forget that for the month of April, every video has Waldore the Friendly Tavern Mimic hidden somewhere in it. So if you do happen to spot Waldore somewhere in this video, go into the comments and let me know. Also, the first person to screenshot Waldore and share that screenshot in the Where's Waldore channel on the Discord server will get a point. At the end of the month, the 3 people with the highest number of points will get an exclusive Mimic Hunter role that is only available during this event. So, Mimic Hunters, have at it. Basically, Stunning Strike only works on humanoids. Slow Fall was not working. When I was thrown, tied by vines while falling, crash landing a flying skull, I was on top of it. Basically, any time that I did not jump myself. Many attacks just did damage, no rolls and no way of even using deflect missiles to its full effect against them. And the worst, arguing between players was resolved by a charisma check contest. When did this charisma check against other players become popular? Like I'll use it sometimes of like a deception check from one player character to another, but never to like actually resolve something in the game or between people at the table. That sounds dumb. DM has final say on rules. Sounds fine, it isn't. Played a wizard for 4 sessions around level 5 after my ranger ate brown mold by accident. Still unsure about how, but whatever. Fireball had a royalty cost of 590 gold. May seem a strange number, it's exactly how much gold I had. Everything suddenly had a gold cost. Wizards can't just amass wealth, they need a gold sink. The table pushed back on it, yay. It became contention, boo. The DM had a meltdown about said phrase. I retired my wizard. His girlfriend played a wizard towards the end of the campaign, and we brought up the cost. She got a circlet that negates all costs for free from her backstory, convenient. We kicked him and his girlfriend out of the group and took a 4-year break from D&D. I'm sorry you had to take a 4-year break from the game, but I kinda get it. This is pretty dumb. I mean, I get spells having a material cost, component, or sometimes even just money, but not conveniently the exact amount you had, and never 590 gold for a single fireball. Like, that's just outrageous. And then to give his girlfriend a get out of paying free card just because she's his girlfriend, yeah, no, that's bad. You can't attack the overpowered DMPC, who is just there to make the DM feel like the main character and overshadow the PCs. We blew his cave up and trapped him there forever. I'm surprised the DM let you trap his DMPC there forever. He probably retaliated in some way. Adding a 7th stat, horniness. Simple, to the point, definitely not for a lot of tables. My group often calls for hotness checks, in which the DM just rolls a flat d20 to see how beautiful the person is, or animal, or object. He rolled a 20 on a horse once, and the entire party argued over who would get to ride it. I mean, is this really a bad one? Like, is this a bad one? But is it like a bad one? Because this just seems like people having fun and wanting to know how attractive the bartender is, which, in my case, it's like a 5. Played a session with a dude that was way into house rules, like beyond reason. Weapons broke when they rolled max damage. Divine magic has the same rate of failure as arcane magic if the caster's wearing armor. Said it was for balance. Restricted various race and class combos for no particular reason. Half-orcs and halflings couldn't take any classes with supernatural or spell-like abilities. Only humans could be full casters. Arcane casters needed to make a fortitude save when casting their highest level spells to avoid exhaustion. Divine casters needed to make a will save to attempt to cast their highest level spells to show they had their god's attention. There were more, but I bailed before they came up. Weapons breaking I've heard as a house rule that some people do, and I don't mind it, like it can be fun. But no, when you're just doing max damage, and there's so many of these with like the making a save to cast your higher level spell, that's the whole point of leveling up and getting more powerful to do these spells. You don't need to save against your own magic. Painful historical accuracy. Example, mind you half-orc, barbarians' weapons were not deemed historically accurate enough, and I had to do research on what kind of wood was commonly found in the Germanic Middle Ages. Realistic fantasy systems with a suspicious focus on accurate racism and sexual assault? What? No fun allowed. I had a DM dismiss fully doable, in-universe working decisions because they were too goofy. Why yes, same DM for all these examples. How'd you guess? Look, I'm all for applying a little bit of realism every now and then, but having to identify a specific type of wood from the Germanic Middle Ages for the haft of your battle axe doesn't track. And yeah, historical accuracy in a world where people are playing half-orcs. Where do you draw the line? I definitely put some house rules in my games, but most of them are either popular ones online or ones that the whole table discusses and agrees on. However, I have played in some games that had some less than desirable house rules. The first that comes to mind was how one DM in particular handled willpower saves in older editions. Normally, a willpower save would be for something like, your character is a gambling addict, and you're walking past a game of cards in the tavern. Roll a will save to see if you can resist sitting down for a few rounds. No problem with that. However, this guy would take it a step further and take full control of your character until the situation ended, or he succeeded a will save on behalf of your character. Like in the gambling example, I might roleplay my character sitting down, burning through 50 gold in a run of bad luck, then rejoining the party to continue the story. But with this DM, he'd make the character sit down, burn through all of their gold, then continue to force moods, actions, and other roleplay on them until they'd had their fun. They might make your character rage, flip the card table, and start a fight with another player just because of the one failed will save. A worse example was when a player was terrified of an enemy from their backstory. The DM called for a will save with a ridiculous DC. Then when the player failed, the DM literally took their character sheet and had them just taking single bow attacks from the corner of the room for the duration of the battle. Totally sucked the fun out of a potentially cool roleplay scenario. And that's gonna wrap up our video on horrible house rules. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and click the bell, and also go into the comments and share the horrible house rules that you've had to put up with. I know there's a lot out there. Also, don't forget to go in the comments and let me know if you found Waldore, because again, he is hidden in this video. Anyway, thank you guys again, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and if I happen to walk by your table in the tavern and you're using one of these horrible house rules, I'm gonna charge you double for your drinks.